Hi, Maria.
Hello, Nicolette.
Hi. Wow. Good afternoon to you. For the benefit of our listeners, my name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. We have Maria Agustin here with us today, and she is about to tell us how did she turn her life around from being a lawyer and still a lawyer right now. I guess she had to lose herself in order to find herself again. But before that, I'm going to give you guys a bit of introduction about Maria and then we can get right into our conversation. So, hey everyone, we have Maria Agustin here with us. She's a lawyer in a tech-based industry coming from a top-tier global firm with 8 solid years in insurtech industry. And she said, and I quote, who lost herself to the capitalism in the world, but managed to get herself back. She turned out to be an addict to self-discovery after her own spiritual awakening and a lover of this life, a constant seeker of new understanding of this universe. Welcome.
This is really cool.
Right. I get that all the time. Like when somebody hears their introduction being read to them, it actually often it gives them the reality that okay, I'm actually somebody. I did so much. And again, that's the notion of my podcast. We all have at some points in our life felt worthless, and that is the essence of my podcast because we are not worthless, we are worthy as it is. So, Maria, tell us, what was it like growing up as Maria Agustin?
Ooh, I think if I look back right now, I would say it was rough. And I keep wondering, how did I go through all that? I came from a very much dysfunctional family. When I say dysfunction, it's more towards my mom and my dad always focus on the society standard that was imposed to them without even knowing why do they even to follow that. Like in their mind, it's as simple as because everyone say that's something that we should do.
Yes.
And on top of that, my sisters who came from a different dad, they have a different perspective of society standard in life. So it's like layers and layers of standard and moving goalposts that was imposed to you constantly for years until you're a grown up and you've decided, no, I've had enough. Let's move on from all this. When you say growing up, my definition of growing up is when I was little up to when I was 30 years old. Because when I was 30, which was just 3 years ago, that's when I realized that I actually have a life to live, not before that. So
Mm.
growing up till I'm 30, I was an alcohol addict. I abused alcohol substance to the maximum. I was an addict
Really?
of shopping behavior.
Really? I didn't peg you for that when we first met.
Amongst all those layers, deep down there is an alcoholic lady who kept me striving for years. I am a very high functioning alcoholic. So the more I drink, the more I actually function better, which is not great, not ideal. For that point in time, it was great, but there is a point that you need to get out. So that's how it looks like, and that's how it sounds to grow up as me.
Wow. There's so much to unpack there, Maria. Well, okay. We could go on, not even an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on this. So, okay, I think for the benefit of the listeners as well, I think it's good to let them know that how we met. I think we met through it was very random, right? Because I was
It's really
providing an extra,
random.
yeah,
It was like a
freelancing.
reference from a reference. It
Yeah, it
was
was a
just like that.
referral. Yeah. So for the listeners, some of you guys have heard some of my podcasts, and I come from an accounting background, so I go to restaurants and bars offering my services, and then that's how I met Maria. And I think we met back in 2019 I'm not mistaken. I think that time I was already
Yeah.
divorced, right? And then 2019, and now 2021, 2023, 2024, 5 years after, we're still friends. So, and you're here. A lot has
Yeah, when
changed.
I met you, I was at the lowest point of my life.
Come on,
But
girl. Me
back
too.
then, but back then
But
I
we were
genuinely,
functioning.
back
We
then
were
I
functioning
genuinely
still.
thought I am at the highest point.
Precisely.
That is that is how crazy your brain could manipulate you. That's one lesson that I learned really hard actually.
I love that. It's like because you know, you feel you're already going against, you're giving your best, but then you're using something to attain your best, not within, not internally,
Yeah.
right? And okay, I want to go into that deeper in a bit, but I understand that you're an Indonesian by origin. So, can you share with us what was your relocation journey? Like, did you always grow up in Indonesia, or what was it? How was it?
So up until I finished my college, I've always lived in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
I have never thought about living and working overseas. Like
Right.
my standard when I first started work, it's my mom's standard. You know, you be a head of legal in a big company in Indonesia, a traditional sector, as in like manufacturer or food and beverage, and it's great. And
Mm-hmm.
life stopped there. And then when you get there, you get married, you have kids, and things are great that way. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow I did pursue that for the sake of, getting my mom's nod and approval and to stop her comparing me with other people in the family. But then someone, when I was working at Herbert Smith Hills at the firm, someone told me that you are better than that. I didn't see that at that point. I didn't see that until 10 years later, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a long time.
It
10
is a
years.
long time to feel that, yeah, you're right. I'm actually deserve better. It's a long time. And then that person started to train me under his wings, and then that's where I got transfer here and there. And then my first in-house counsel, I was offered to move to Singapore and then Malaysia. And then I left that job 6 years later, or almost 7 years later. And then here I am living in Thailand in Bangkok.
Wow. Okay. So you did walk us through a bit of your career journey. Recapping, you were in Indonesia for a while, and then you moved to Singapore, and there was an opportunity for you to come to Malaysia, and that's when you set up your own thing on the side, and that's
Mhm.
how we were connected. And then right now you're in Thailand, Bangkok. So, what was your turning point in life, and what happened?
My biggest turning point. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For the context of my answer, I want you to imagine this. Imagine a 25-year-old girl earning money way above her peer. And that money kept doubling up every single year. And when I was 27 and I moved to Malaysia, I got the privilege of a title of Asian girl earning the white man's salary. That's how rapid it was.
Mm.
Imagine that trajectory, combine it with a person who doesn't know what she's doing in terms of what is my life about. Like in my
Mm.
mind, life is about go to work, make money, buy groceries, buy whatever you want, and have fun. But she doesn't even know what is having fun. She doesn't know, like, do I need to make friends? How do I go through my daily life? So that trajectory with a very low understanding of life, that's not a very good combination, I tell you.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So when my peers complaining about, oh, I have such a low income,
You
I
couldn't relate.
I couldn't relate to that because I don't have that. I earn simply in average 6 to 7 times what they're earning. I earn 4 times of what Malaysians were earning when I lived in KL. That's how crazy it was. So with all that confusion, I saw my peer, they're drinking every day, and I thought that's probably how you have fun. And I came from a background where I went to school with my nanny following me. I didn't have much of a social interaction. The pros of it is my brain is always pure to absorb things. I'm a fast learner. I'm pretty
Right.
much smart. I could memorize things very easily because it was not contaminated by social interaction. But the
Mm.
downside of it, the moment I was alone living overseas, then it all come crashing down. So
Mm-hmm.
then that's where I started to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then after years of doing that, and finally 3 years down the road, when I was 30, I could, I start question my day because I woke up feeling fine, but by 3 or 4 p.m., I felt agitated, like I need my wine or I'm gonna
Mm.
be angry.
Almost dependent on it.
That
Mm-hmm.
was really weird. And I
Mm.
thought probably that's just normal because I would see my boss back then drinking wine. I would see my colleague drinking beer while doing calls. So I thought, okay, that's normal. And then the blackouts start to come. The blackouts, as
Blackouts.
in, yeah, as in I start to not remember things like what I said, what I did in a matter of 5 to 6 hours. And it is scary. At
Mm.
that point, I went through all sort of a shitty relationship, which back then I thought was the perfect relationship.
Mm. 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 Mm.
I
Mm.
know. So my turning point was I went to my one of my colleague party in his house. So many people in there. The next morning, people said how fun I was. Wow, in my brain, I thought I went home by 9 and go to bed by 10. In reality, I went home by 1 a.m.
Mm.
dancing, drinking, talking to people, and there was video of it, which shows me that, dude, I think I was sleeping. And they were like, no, you were in the party till 1 a.m. and I am fully functioning. And
Whoa.
that
Whoa, I just got the
scares me.
chills. Oh my gosh.
That scares me. And then right after that, I look for therapists. I want to see a
Mm-hmm.
doctor and a full blown rewiring of my life, full blown rewiring of my thoughts. Because if I can function without my consciousness, that's the line that I'm scared of. Before that, I had very dark thoughts like I want to kill myself. I don't want to wake up again. Before that for me it's not a turning point because I still woke up the next day thinking about taking care of my dogs, and I still feel like I'm fine. I get rid of the thought overnight. I'm fine. It keeps happening again, but I always get rid of it. But the moment you see you can actually function without being conscious,
Shit.
that's like when I know I need to shop. And then I need to shop in terms of therapist, doctor, hospital appointment, MRI, CT scan. So yeah, that's my turning point. Fast forward to now, I think I'm lucky to have met a therapist that I could actually work with. Hypnotherapist. The other therapists can't even get into my
Whoop,
brain.
whoop. Yes, because it's all in the subconscious.
Exactly. So then I got to rewire everything inside my head. And then by the end of my 30th year on this life, I realized that actually life is not so bad. Actually, if I don't know how to socialize, if I don't know if I should make friends, I could have just asked myself. Actually, what I don't know is not about what to do. What I don't know is me. I live in
Mm.
a body that I don't know.
Mm. Again, the chills. Yes, yes. It is all about discovering yourself. And that's why this term, self discovery, is so vast and people overlook it. They say the mastery of self is the best mastery of everything else, because if you can master yourself, then only you can reflect that outward to people around you.
Exactly. I do think, most of it was driven by the fact that this world changes so fast. Like
Mm.
what happened last year might not happen again this year. Everyone moves so fast in their life. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, it gets you scary, and that's normal because you're human. And when
Yeah.
you're scared, then that's where your critical thinking and your brain comes in. And your brain's
Survival mode.
is actually to protect you. So the
Yes.
only way and the most efficient way to protect you is to go and set your brain into an autopilot mode. You are on a
Mm.
survival mode every day. So you can pass through the day without feeling the pain because you're surviving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Instead of thriving.
Exactly.
Now, thriving requires you to know yourself. It requires you to align with the values, the purpose of yourself, and basically understanding what you are here for on this earth. And but for you to do that, you must face all these fears or all this break through the chains of societal conditioning.
Exactly.
What we thought, what we unlearn everything that was taught to us and relearn everything. But that is often super difficult, and I too was a victim because it requires you to get to let go of a lot of things. That includes your ego, that includes of yourself, which is often tied to your sense of accomplishment, your accolades. So I can totally relate with you, girl. So you were mentioning about therapy earlier, and you said it was hypnotherapy. Walk us through a bit your journey of finding that, and you said you were shopping for them, you were shopping for which one to go to, and then why did you say it's hypnotherapy and not just the normal therapy that helped you turn your life around?
So before I got to hypnotherapy, I've tried 3 or 4 different therapists. The first therapist, she was fine, and I feel like I could talk to her, but I know that deep down inside me, I hide things from her. Like
Mm.
if she asked me, "Why are you drinking?" my answer would be, "Oh, because I came from a dysfunctional family and I have resentment." But the actual answer that I get to learn a year later is that I don't even know why I drink. And it's actually worse than knowing why you're drinking. So
Yes.
then the same pattern happened again with the second one. And then every time I change therapists, it's always because I feel like it doesn't work. Like I get to talk to them, but I can't relate to what they're saying. Like my brain always go like, you don't know my life.
Me.
You've never been in my
Yes.
position. You've never been
Yeah.
as stressful as 28 or 29 years old dealing with billions of US dollar. You've never done that. So how
Mm.
do you know how
Yeah,
stressed I am? So
that's
then
true.
a friend of mine mentioned that, why don't you try hypnotherapy? And I was very skeptical of it. Like, really? Hypnosis? You think that's gonna go through my thick shell? Really? And then
Your guards.
they were just give it one time. Okay. So I went to my first session. Her name is Sobana. I know she's not gonna mind it if I mention her name. And then I was like, "Are you sure you can get in?" "I don't think so." And then she said, "Oh, if I can't get in, it's okay. You'll come back next week and then we'll try again." She has
I
this
love
very
that.
positive attitude
I
towards.
love that. I love
Exactly.
that.
So
Yeah.
then she tried, and then on the first attempt, she got in. I didn't remember
You
much of
cracked open.
yeah, I don't remember much of the session, but after that, I feel nauseous. I feel dizzy. I cannot function for 2 days. And then after that 2 days, I woke up one morning and I genuinely thought, I'm actually happy being alone. I want to do
Wow.
something that I really like. And then I question myself, what do I really like? And then the next
Mm-hmm.
day, I realized, oh, I actually liked eating that yesterday. I want to do that again,
Again, yes.
going from there. And then the next time I saw her, it's always a different topic. Like, what am I anxious about? What's my fear? And at the end of it, I remember the conclusion of my problem is not about finding out what I want to be in this life. My problem is I don't trust myself that I
Mm.
can do what I want while
Mm.
I actually have it in me.
Oh God.
I know I don't trust myself. So throughout my 30 years of life, so many people have trusted me with big things. I have never failed. I deliver 100%. I literally have zero failure. Even for the things that I touch for the first time, I don't fail that. But somehow, even with that, I can't see myself as a smart people. I don't trust myself to go through in life, and I'm very, very scared of going through emotional breakdowns, sadness, even happiness. Because I keep thinking that I don't think you can handle that. Well, I actually can.
You
So
think
then
you're
after
not
that, in all
deserving.
the sessions, yeah, and then all the sessions concentrated on that. And then right now, oh man, I'm not afraid of anything. The good and the bad, you guys come.
Bring it on. I love that notion of, you see, this journey of finding yourself, once you're in it, once you take that leap of faith, the jumping off the cliff and the flying, which in turn it says the jumping means the scary part, and the flying, which means when you're driving, it's so, until you do it, you feel that it's far fetched. But once you take that leap, life will never ever leave you behind. What do I mean by that? It means that you are always gonna be taken care of one way or another. And it's never about you making, okay, say you make a wrong mistake. You made a mistake and then you fail, but in your case maybe you didn't fail, right? It's 100% success rate. Like for me, I can vouch that I'm no. So but also I used to be an overachiever as well until something happened to me as well, and I started letting go. So, hi doggy. And I think a big part of discovering yourself is about letting go as well, learning how to hold on, learning how to let go. Now, my next question would be, in your opinion, or if you ever lived through any of this, live through the experience yourself, what does it mean letting go and letting God? Let go and let God.
I think those two are very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Letting go means you're surrendering for me. Letting God means you're not actually surrendering. You just change your reliance towards something to something that you cannot see. And I'm not
Mm.
saying this to offend anyone. My mom is a very
Yeah.
religious person. But do I actually believe in God? I believe He exists. Do I actually believe He will help me? I believe He's not gonna work against the universe. Because if I were to believe in God, I have to believe in the Bible as the books that He has written. And the Bible says that your life is pretty much predetermined.
Mm.
And you go to Muslim, the Quran says that you were shown your life 77 times by the angel before you come down here, and for 77 times you nod on it, which means you know what's gonna happen. But
Mm.
for me, I don't know what's gonna happen. I cannot tell that, is that really only one option that you take every time? I don't think so. So for me, letting go means you completely surrender your power in the sense of do things in the best way only for the things that you can control. If
Oof.
you know that you can't control that, no matter what you do, then relax into it. If it is yours, it'll come to you. If it
Mm.
is not, then you're gonna be given something better. It's
Oh,
100% always the
I
case.
love, always better, always bigger and better.
It's always bigger and better.
Rem-
I think the most relatable example you can take for this kind of thing is dating life.
Okay, let's go into relationship.
I mean, I mean dating
Yeah,
life.
let's do it.
I mean dating life is something that you can relate. It's part of you on a daily basis because
Yeah,
who amongst us could think that I don't need to date? Like genuinely think that. Not
of
because
course.
your brain has been rewired by the fact that, oh, women are so powerful, we can do things on our own. No one. You would say that in your mouth, but deep down, I want to find someone that I could have morning
Yes.
routine with, night routine,
Yes.
sleep with, cuddle with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So when it
Preach,
comes
preach,
to
preach.
dating, it's the same concept, right? The moment you hold them so tight, the more that they're gonna grow distant. Because in that scenario, it's not about them. It's about when you're too busy holding them, you forgot to hold yourself. And it's not their job
Yes.
to hold you. So what's the
Mm,
best way to do it? Then just let go.
yeah.
Focus on yourself, get busy of knowing you. And I am very sure everyone who's listening to this, even when they're in their 40s, I don't think anyone would know any nooks and cranny of themselves. It's almost impossible. So
Yeah.
focus on yourself, let go. Let go as in do the best you can. Like, for example, if you really want to be in a long term relationship, make sure you grow with this person, grow together instead of growing apart. The simplest way that you can do to claim that you did your best is be present for them, make time for them. I make time for my boyfriend now, like twice a week we must have dinner date. And that's an effort, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
time that
Mm-hmm.
you set aside. But
Yeah.
whether or not you're gonna end up with this person, whether or not you're gonna get engaged next year, that's a completely different level. You don't have control of that, then forget it. You can't imagine stuff like, oh, I wish we're engaged, I wish he's giving me this ring. That's fine. But don't chase on it. It's okay. Let it be.
Oh, yes. Yes. Carry on. I love it because you know what? It's the same epiphany I had. It's because whenever there's two people in a relationship, be it a romantic or platonic or mother father, you know, mother daughter, mother son, it is about you. It is it is you that you bring to the table. Okay, now I'm taking it into a different angle where let's say you're in a relationship and we had ups and downs and best example trigger points, right? You are triggered because of somebody's action.
Mhm.
It's not usually their fault. It's usually something. Maybe they meant A, but we conceive it as construed it as B, and we get triggered for no reason, without understanding the issue, the underlying issue. But somehow, when you are triggered, it's actually more to do with you than them.
Oh yeah, for
What is
sure.
it within you? What is it within you that hasn't healed or is still being hidden, not being brought up to light, right? And you mentioning the notion of coming together in a relationship, in a union, and it is, I can say, whenever I'm in a relationship, I lose myself to the point that it is all about the other person. Once I truly understand that it is actually about me, once you can, because you can only meet someone as much as you have met yourself, and that means going within, going deep. And you can be the most loving partner, the most loving couple in the world now, but if you do not have that foundation within yourself, him or her, whoever, or you're in, you know, same sex relationship, doesn't matter. If you have not done the work on you, done the work on your shadow self or your healing, your trauma, there will be a time when definitely you will have to go on your own separate ways. Now, it's up to them to work through it together, right? And it is most imperative, the baseline is to just know yourself, and knowing yourself is a lifetime journey. Like you started this when you were 30. I started this when I was what, 29. Now 4 years after, pretty much got a better hang of myself, but still we're all healing for something, we're all learning from something until we're 6 feet underground. I
That's
get that's yeah, that's I guess that's my take on that. And relationship, yeah, self love. I guess to me, self love is the best. If not, it's the best indicator of how you're gonna enter into a reunion with somebody. As much as you love yourself.
I am a true believer now that if you can't love yourself, it's impossible for you to love someone else. So when you can't love yourself and you claim that, oh baby, I love you, do
Yeah.
you really love that person, or you're saying it for the sake of making
Validation.
sure he knows that you love him, and therefore he got certain obligations coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are
Expecting
very
him to reciprocate that.
exactly.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, when you do that, like when you say I love you to a person without even loving yourself, so the way you said I love you is actually a trick that your mind created to remind yourself that you're being loved by this external being, a person. And eventually it's a selfish act. And at the end of the
Mm.
relationship, you will tell your girls, I've done so many things for him. My question would be, did you do it for him though? Or is
Mm.
it for you?
Mm.
If you're doing it for you, why would you have resentment towards him? That doesn't sound fair right now. And that's what I'm doing in my relationship right now, in the sense of now I know that myself have this cue where at the point that I suddenly feel a little bit agitated towards stuff and him, and I feel like I'm anxious about something without knowing what is it, it's
Yes.
actually not him. It's actually my inner child screaming that I think you haven't spent much time with me. I need your attention. But I learned that cue over like a year or two of doing hypnotherapy
Mm-hmm.
and realized that, oh, it's not about the environment, it's not about him, it's about me. I just need to look within and ask me, what am I agitated about? But because again, I came from a background where I used to be a strong believer that I'm excellent at work. I deliver what I want. I'm excellent at making money, but I'm shit in relationship.
Same.
That's it.
When my relationship failed, I'm like, you know what? The love department is not for me. Let me just redirect all my energy and effort on making money and building my career.
Now,
Boy, I was
I
wrong.
feel
Yeah.
so now I feel like, but it's also because now I'm good with myself.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Gosh. Wow. Thank you, Maria. We unpacked so much within the last 30
I
minutes.
know.
Okay. How important is breaking the stigma on mental health today? What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, it's very important. I think, I came from a country where if you say I have a mental health problem,
Asian Asians,
people
you're talking to
people think,
our American listeners.
yeah, people think you're cocoon, like you're
Yes.
gonna go to the mental hospital and
Yes,
be taken
exactly.
care of. That's what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to break a stigma on it. Because I have to admit that someone's performance in life is pretty much driven by their mental health. But also, although I say it's important to change the stigma around it, we should also balance it with, you know, the world or people to not start taking advantage of it. Like these days, there is a trend where mother would train their kids to be neurodivergent, to be able to
Oh,
put a disability as a neurodivergent. And it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
something that you can physically detect. It's something that comes from your behavior, how you memorize stuff, that
Mm.
kind of thing. So although mental health is something that it's something that you should frame it in a way that it's actually healthy to know that you have a mental health problem, but
Yeah.
also at the same time don't take the advantage of it. And I
Mm.
think people, especially the ones older than us, they're very protective of that stigma of mental health because I think they're also afraid that the youngsters gonna start using it as their advantage. Like, oh, I don't want to go to work because I have a mental health problem. And in reality
Mm.
that happened, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought about it. So but back
Wow.
then when I had my problem,
Mm-hmm.
I told my boss that I think I have a problem up here, and I think it's
Yeah.
something that I gotta fix. And then he told me that, well, if need to, you can take paid leave from work, take a break, and do things to make you feel better. But
Yeah.
then at the same time, the people who are more senior than him would say stuff like, "Oh, I heard you got a problem. Are you okay?" And start avoiding you. Like, "Oh, I'm afraid
Ooh.
your
Okay.
deliverable not gonna be as good." That kind of thing.
Mm. Mm. So say, how would you handle it differently then? If you have a team, how would you handle it differently?
I think I would start with really understanding, do I really have mental health problem, or do I have a problem with my environment? Because we talk about the trigger points, right?
Right.
Everyone in their life have their trigger points. Like, and your trigger points is something that goes from things that you can handle and feel better in like 5 minutes after that happened, up to
Hmm.
trigger points that you're not going to forgive that. So
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
trigger points, sometimes it could feel like anxiety. Sometimes it feels like um depression, but actually it's not. It's actually the environment that unfortunately you can't work with, and you just have to move on. Like, for example, in my
Oh,
previous
thank
job,
you.
I used to think that I am stuck there because of my mental health situation. I used to think that I can't get a better position at work because my mental is not as clear and it's foggy and it's affecting me. But now looking back, it wasn't actually the case, because looking back, I still deliver as normal. I didn't fail anything, but it's the work environment that is just not working with me anymore, and I don't work with them anymore. So
Hmm.
my positive conclusion would be, I've just outgrown the place. So back then, when I'm blaming it to mental health, it wasn't fair to the word of mental health, because it
Mental
wasn't the
health.
case.
Yeah. 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 So you have to discern which one is it. Is it really the mental health or is it the environment that you're in?
Exactly.
That's, yes.
Because if you want
Yes.
to load
Yes.
everything to mental health, I would feel sorry to your brain too. Because whatever you label yourself, you become that person.
Yeah. Exactly.
And your brain gonna listen to you and be like, what the hell,
Oh,
man, we're fine.
yeah. And and if yeah, and if you are, it's usually if you're in a shitty situation, and if you try so hard to stay in it just because you think, like what you said, you don't want to leave because maybe your previous organization was accepting of you having mental health, therefore they still keep you in, still give you the normal salary, and them and you wanting to leave made you feel like you're not worthy because of all of these attachments that you had.
Exactly.
And but the whole root cause of it is actually the environment, and you hit the point right at the bullseye when you said you've outgrown the place. You simply have outgrown the place, and there's maybe you have some things that you need to work on yourself, but it's not entirely your fault. It's like, I don't even want to say the word 50-50 here. It's from the environment, it's from you. But maybe it's okay to say, even though the place is prestigious enough, the organization pays you a hell lot of money, and it is, I don't know, top Fortune 500 company in the world, and they're paying you so much, and you don't want to leave because of the attachments you have to it. And your poor self is getting blamed that you are not well enough in the standard of the society to cope with it. And then you say, oh, I have mental health, so therefore I stay. And why I think I can relate, it's because I did the same thing. I stayed, and until the universe had to pull me out of it. You can't keep giving me things that are not in alignment. And I said, okay, I get it, pull me out. And I was again scared. That's the start of my whole thing. Scared of, am I ever gonna establish myself? Because that means, do I need to start again? What will the society think of me? What will my parents think of me? And right now, 5 years after, I'm here talking to guests around the world, and you. Never in a million years I would be doing podcasting.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
when I
and
quit my job,
switching to
I
therapy.
also think about that. When I quit my job, I also think about, oh my God, what's my mom gonna say?
Right?
And that's
Right?
just like, and that's like half of the entire things that I need to worry about. It's about, what would my mom say? And then only after that, I'm worrying about, how do I gonna pay my bills? How do
Yeah.
I gonna pay my credit card debt? How do
Yes.
I gonna fund myself on a daily basis? That kind of stuff. Like, how do I buy my dog's toy and food? That kind
Oh,
of stuff. But the
yeah.
first biggest worry, it's about, what would why would I do this, and what would my mom say about this?
Exactly. Exactly. Instead, it should have been, what do I want to do? What do I feel like doing? We get so, the layers is being put on us for so many years
Exactly.
that we lost touch. But again, the way to thrive, to me, I've learned is that you listening to yourself, how you feel, and you're not gonna feel all sunshine and joy and happiness all the way. You're gonna have this, but
Oh yeah,
as
for
long as you,
sure.
yeah,
But when you trust yourself, that makes
that's the
the
key.
difference. Because
Yes.
I can tell you, like, my decision to move here was crazy, right? I don't have any
Share with us
Yeah, I,
what
I,
you
I
shared
don't
with
have
me.
any employer. I don't want to go back to Indonesia. So I left Malaysia is I was empty handed. I have very little money in my account after
You
paying
had faith
deposit
though.
for this apartment. Exactly. I have next to zero tool actually. And I simply don't know what I'm gonna do or what I want to do. I know I can survive a month without income, but that's about it. After a month, it's quite
I
struggle.
totally get you.
So then, but I think after so many hypnotherapy session, I think my subconscious mind and my critical mind are wired very differently. Somehow, I keep getting this feeling, and it's very strong that you'll be okay. We're gonna work together. We'll take care of you. Who's we? I don't know. But not
Mm-hmm.
for a single second I was worried. And but even after that, the first week I come here unemployed, there are nights that I would just lay down on my bed thinking, oh my god, if I don't have income soon, I'm gonna be super fucked, man. I moved here with my two dogs, not alone. So I got kids to feed.
You're worried, yeah. You're worried about kids.
Not even joking. And
Yeah.
and then sometimes I thought I was too stupid probably of doing that. But then again, the next morning I would wake up, do my morning mantra, and then I feel like I can handle it. I trust myself enough to handle it. So when you invite the bad and the good things to come, they do come. But the good things is always better than the bad things. So it helps to overcome everything.
Mm.
Um, and then within that 4 months of being unemployed, I landed client as big as a big security company, as big as a company who work exclusively for Google. And they just contacted me out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
Mm. Mm.
You want to do
Mm.
this? And I was like,
Oh my god.
so
You
yeah.
see?
I
It's
mean, yeah, when it comes to feeling emotion, ups and downs are granted. But if you can trust yourself to go through all that, if you can tell yourself that having problems is normal, it's okay. However, things that you do good in life, you will always get into problem because you're human, and in this life you're not alone. There will always be problem.
yeah.
So that's the second one. The third one is, I think it's important that you can look back in your life, like say 10 years from now, and you could tell yourself that, damn, you went through all that. Why can't I go through another day? My therapist said that. So Bana at one point she said that your childhood is really something, and your early adulthood is really traumatizing for normal people and too crazy, and you went through all that. Isn't that a sign that you actually have everything inside you?
Oh.
But
Mm.
sometimes people forget that. Sometimes they're too busy. I was too busy looking forward and looking up. I forgot to look backwards and to look down to what I have done before. I completely forget that. So now every
Mm-hmm.
time I don't feel so good about life, if I sit down and think about my past and how I went through it and I'm standing right now, that's my secret weapon.
Mm. Enough said. I have nothing to add to that.
I mean, you can look forward, it's good, but then if you don't know where you came from, what would good that would do to you, right? But I would also say that looking back for me wasn't easy, because that is one of the biggest challenge that I think I overcome, because there are so many traumatic events that my brain has learned the perfect capability of changing my memory. So even for me to look backwards, that was painful and very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
And that's when, all the surrendering comes in a way that I have went through all that. It's not gonna happen again. I just wanna look.
Remembering being in the moment, being present, but also looking back behind, looking back at what you have gone through, your accomplishment, your trauma, and being hopeful and trusting that what's to come is for your highest good. But at the best of it is to stay present and stay grounded in the now. And I think
Sure.
you sum it up perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not as easy as those YouTuber would say that, oh, just stay grounded.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, I
What if you're
know.
too used to
Sure.
things?
Exactly. It's easier said than done. It's easier said, definitely. And you, why I'm finding it difficult, it's because when I did it myself, I had to so many crying by myself. Nobody saw it. But it's about being super freaking honest with yourself, being authentic, being honest. Like, what is it that made me feel this way? Why am I? Why do I feel this way? What happened? Why me? Mm, I
Mhm.
guess that thing, that question, why me? Why not you? Why not me? Because if a divine or higher power that brought you to that, it would bring you through it. There's a reason why you're being given this. So, and you've gone through it. So, what makes you think you cannot take this? So you are indeed strong, and you are indeed worthy and deserving of all the good things you
Yeah.
want.
And it's interesting how human can easily forget that.
Yeah.
Because every time I tell my friends who are like feeling not so good about their life progress, every time I say, have you looked through your past where you came from and imagine what you've went through?
Mm-hmm.
100% of them, all of them would say, huh, interesting. Never
Mm.
done that. It feels like for us, especially when we had trauma in the past, we just keep that locked and hidden somewhere.
You do not want to revisit that because it's a painful memory. And again, humans are wired to go towards pleasure, not pain.
Exactly. What if it's actually a reminder? What if it's actually there? And what if you had to go through all that because at one point in your future you need that as a reminder? What if that's actually the case?
Mm.
What if it's not
Mhm.
about, oh, you gotta learn something, you gotta learn a lesson or two? What if it's not about that? What if it's simply just, it's just a reminder you went through super difficult stuff and you're good. So now this thing is not even as difficult as before. So we're gonna get through
Yes.
this.
Yes. 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 It's your ticket, is your tool. You've gone, these are all your ammo.
Yeah. So I like to say that before you look externally, do an inventory of yourself. Go through that exercise of, write down your past with the exact memory, the actual memory of it. Nothing being sugar coated, nothing being
Yes.
changed to protect your memory. Nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
raw version of it. You want to cry while you write it? Sure. But at least when you write it, you will know that have you even grieved about it before? If you haven't grieved about something, you're not going to heal from it.
Mm.
So yeah, do
Oh,
inventory first and then look externally.
I love that. I love that.
I know, right? I've been going through all the shit in the past year. So God.
Oh gosh. And this is why you're perfect fit for this show. I love it. And you're doing great things. Not just now and in the future. I know it, Maria. This is just the beginning. So what is next for you?
Hmm. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to what this universe gonna bring me. It's been so good so far. I think it's gonna go better. Well, I still set my intention for every year. Like I want certain things to happen this year, but as I'm relaxing into it, the more I think about it, the more I feel like it's okay. It will happen in a way or another. What's next for me? I'm busy looking into a manifestation thing, I think, in terms of self discovery. I mean, I've encountered some actually happening to me, but I really wanna know why. And the more I read about it from scientific perspective, the more it seems like human is actually being equipped with the power to manifest. That is how strong your central lobe of your brain is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm reading about that. I'm also reading through stuff like um, what is actually an abundance? Like so many people, you know, correlate abundance and money wealth, but
Mm-hmm.
is it that narrow? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Once you figure it out, I'm gonna have you on the show again, and we can talk about manifestation and having an abundance mindset. And it could be money, financial, time, right? Yes, I'm gonna call you on again.
and I'm perfecting my daily gratitude. So yeah, sometimes there are days that I still woke up and feel like nope, feel like shit. I have nothing to be grateful about. But it usually lasts for 10 minutes or so these days. We're human. We have our bad days.
Yes, yes, yes. No matter if, let's say, we're probably more conscious than the last 3 years or 4 years, we are still gonna face that low days. But it's okay. I think the whole idea is to be kind to yourself and accepting that we will have low days because we are humans. We're here to experience, to have the human experience. We're like you.
Exactly.
We are souls. Yeah.
Exactly. So right now in the past 1 year or so, if I have a really bad day in the morning, I literally tell myself just chill, like be kind to yourself. Work as hard as you can, but stop at 6 and then we'll do
Mm,
something. Me in the
mm-hmm.
past, I'll be like, yeah, I feel shit, but I got a lot of work to do. It's not possible to cut by 6. But now it's a lot more about being compassionate. And then sometimes the best way to get out of that shitty feeling is actually be kind to another. Like do a little things for another people that that would help them. Even if it's just little. It's gonna help you feel like at least I
Feel
helped someone
good.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The act of service. Because
Yeah,
people sleep better when they give or they provide the service rather than taking, right? So
exactly.
that's a very good medicine. Like the, yeah, giving or taking, I don't know, your friend out for dinner, or just your friend says, okay, I have a terrible news. Can you be with me? Yeah,
Yeah. Or
sure.
it's as simple as well, I ride Grab bike pretty often. It's as simple as, get the Grab bike guy some cold drink in the middle of a hot day. It's as simple
Exactly.
as that.
And suddenly, yeah, suddenly you feel uplifted. Like, my day isn't so bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Like you
still
don't need to
matter.
be that Grab bike guy who's wearing like a thick jacket so he's not burned under the sun and riding the bike
Yes.
all day long. It's all good.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. So, okay, a few more questions before I can let you go.
No problem. I'm enjoying this.
So, okay, we're going to pivot to a self worth question. I know we mentioned a little bit about this just now, but let's dive deep, a little bit deeper. So, negative self talk can significantly impact self worth. What strategies can individuals use to challenge and change these destructive thought patterns?
Ha! I have an example of this. When I was in my 20s, I used to tell myself that you're not a very smart girl, but you're lucky. And that's why
Mm,
will give you important job.
mm,
So the lucky
mm.
part is great. I truly believe I'm lucky. But the you're not smart, those are very, very harsh. In that situation, after I learned about it years down the road, it's all about I want to get an external validation so I feel smart. So sometimes a negative talk inside you, it's not really that you are that bad, but it's about there is this validation that you need. The easiest way of your brain to get that validation is to tell you that you are shit until someone else say that you are not shit, because that's
Mm,
the easiest way to get
mm.
your brain to start thinking that I don't need that validation and therefore I don't need your negative talk. Those are the most difficult one. So my strategy in this past few years is that ask myself back, why do I think I'm not smart? I think from my conversation with different therapists, people tend to tell themselves something in a very negative way without questioning why do you think that you have to say that negative stuff. Like I like to question myself, if you are not that smart, how did you complete that job? If you are not that smart, how do you come up with the strategy to come up to overcome that work thing? What is it then? Is it really just
Is
lucky?
it pure luck? Sheer luck?
Yeah. I think negative talk is bad because it's basically wiring your subconscious to believe that you're not good. And then what you plant in there, it's usually harder to remove than to plant. So,
Mm,
because so we're going back to that conversation about most people are in survival mode, right? When you are in your survival mode, one of the direct impact is that you don't want any spotlight because you are in a survival mode, you are on an autopilot mode. You know that you could make mistake. You could, doesn't mean you would. But
mm-hmm,
that's why you don't want a spotlight. When
mm,
you don't want a spotlight, it's easier for you, rather than avoiding that spotlight, to tell yourself that you're not even good enough for that. So let's lay low for a little bit, which usually lasts for years. So
yes.
it all eventually ties together. The moment you can get out of your negative talk, trust me, you're gonna start thinking about going out that survival mode in your brain.
Mm, mm. When you were saying that, I was having mental images in my head. I'm like, okay, she said that, and I looked at a different angle, and I'm like, wow, wow. It is. I asked this question to a lot of my guests, and they they say different things, but essentially they're the same because what you plant in, what you plant you will reap, right?
Yeah,
And if you're saying, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, Henry Ford says it, if you're stupid, then you are stupid. If you're smart, then you are smart.
exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes that positive talk is difficult when you don't even have the evidence in you. Because and this is not a criticism, but this is why I used to struggle with those YouTuber about manifesting through self-talk.
Mm,
Because
mm,
they talk as if it is easy, but all human have our critical thought. The critical thought job, our right brain, their main job is to correct you when they think you're wrong.
mm,
So when you're doing your negative talk, it's not only about your subconscious mind, but probably some part of your critical thinking were unable to see that you are good. What if you
mm,
challenge that in a very critical and proven and backed by evidence?
mm-hmm.
Then if you can change your critical mind, it's actually easier to control your subconscious in that regard, because your critical mind gonna say, no, I've seen the evidence that you are actually smart, what are you thinking? And it will
Mm-hmm.
automatically coming back to you in a way that, no, you are not smart, you are a very
Mm-hmm.
smart person.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. I love that. You just reverse engineered everything.
My hypnotherapist did that.
I love it. I love it. Again, so for those people out there who are skeptical about hypnosis in therapy, and I am venturing into that world right now. This is This is an evidence that it works. And not to say that it is the job of the therapist to help you, it is your job to help yourself. The therapist is there to guide you through the process. So, yeah,
I think what
this.
people need to realize is our brain is powerful. Oh, it's way beyond that memorizing, reading, writing, talking, moving your motoric. It's beyond that. This brain, and you can read this in any scientific book, is designed to protect you inside out. So when
Mm,
that happens, it's under a protecting mode. You can't even talk to your subconscious mind because your
mm,
critical mind is in charge. The job of critical mind is to protect you from not being able to work, not being able to do activities. It's their job because they want you to
mhm,
survive, they want you to
mhm.
live, so you need money to buy food, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So with a hypnotherapist, so when people undermine all this brain power, they think that I'm in charge of my brain. No, when you are so fucked up, your brain is in charge because they know
Of you.
you are not right.
Mm. Yes,
When
you
you're
are
not
not right.
right and you're still functioning, how do you think you're doing it? It's your brain. You're not even there.
Mm,
And the
mm,
example that I give you about my blackouts, those are real. That is my
mhm.
brain working. I'm not even there. I'm not saying, oh, it's several personalities or anything. Those are very different things. It's not even compatible with what I'm describing.
Mhm,
So if you can't get your critical thinking to get out of the survival mode and relax for just a little bit, you're not going to be able to access yourself because your
yes.
subconscious mind is locked. And I think that's where the hypnotherapist helped me. Because when I was under hypnosis, I didn't get the chance to think, oh, should
To
I
lock,
tell my
to
therapist
try
this
and
one?
hide it.
Yeah, should
Yeah.
I tell my therapist this one or would she judge me? Should I tell her that this is the actual fact of that memory? Or should I like tweak it a little bit so if my family doesn't sound so fucked up? I don't have that power anymore. So because I don't have that power, my critical mind is relaxing. They're
Mhm,
finally think that okay, I can take a break for a little bit and then my subconscious mind can then talk and tell my
mhm.
therapist and telling me that we are hurt. We're not healed. We need help. How are you going to help us? That's where hypnotherapy helped me a lot. Once you get there, which gonna take I think a lot of session, once you get there, you can rewire your subconscious mind as much as you want. You can get rid of the bad seed that you planted and put a better seed for it. You can do that. But before you access that, you simply, not as easy as any other YouTube video, telling yourself you're smart, that's it. It doesn't work that way.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow, I don't need to do any more marketing for hypnotherapy. You just did it. Thank you so much.
I'm a real life example that is saved from a hypnotherapy.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Maria. So, what is your heart's greatest wish?
My what?
Your heart's greatest wish.
Huh. What I wish for now. Believe it or not, nothing actually.
I love it. I love it. You know why?
I just,
Because this, because you have everything.
yeah, I
And
feel
as
like I have enough.
yeah. Oh my god. It's that is the most powerful thing I've heard.
I mean, I
Um
genuinely feel like I have enough. Like, if someone asks me a very realistic question, like, it cannot be you have everything. Like, there must be
mhm.
things you don't have, or stuff that you think you need but you don't have. My answer would be yes, sure. Like, I'm gonna give you a real life example. My credit card debt. Yes, I have my credit card debt. Proudly saying that I got into that because I did a lot of shopping back then. But and I haven't paid that off. There is a remaining amount of it. Do I need it to be paid off? Yes. Do I need it right now? No. Do I feel I'm less than enough because of it? No. I'm good.
Exactly.
Even if I
Oh.
can't pay it tomorrow, something gonna happen and it will be paid. It's okay.
Yes.
Know exactly how life gonna turn out.
Yes. This is exactly the trajectory I'm on right now. Like I don't have all my finances figured out. Like I'm moving into coaching. Like, dude, 9 to 5 to coaching to your own business. It is tough, okay? And most people probably might say that, oh, Nicolette, probably she's got it all figured out. She's talking to people, yada, 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 yada. It's easy for her to say that. No,
No.
no, no,
There's
no.
just
I
some
still
things
have
that you
debt
can figure
under
out
my belt.
everything. There's
I
no
still
such
have,
thing.
yeah, I still have things that I need to pay that people are still chasing me for. So, but that will that define my worth, or will that define stop me from pursuing what I want to do in my calling? No. And even if this is not my, even if I feel, let's say, if I do well, which I will, and in 5 years or 3 years from now, and I say, okay, maybe I need to pivot again. So be it.
Yeah.
You can always revert. You can always pivot and stop acting like life stops at certain age, because it doesn't, unless you're, again, like I said, 6 feet underground.
I think some of people who are listening to us, they would say, are you crazy? Don't you feel anxious about it? My answer would be,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I feel anxious about it at
of
times.
course.
But if you go back to be grounded, and in this sense, that means if you ask yourself, would it be paid when you're anxious? The answer is no. So we go back to, you do what you best at, things that are under your control. Other than that, it is what it is. I made a decision of being unemployed for 3 to 4 months. So yes, because of that, my financial was pretty much fucked up.
Mhm.
But that's also fine because I simply know at one point it's gonna get sorted out. So that's okay.
Yes,
So if
I
I were
love
to be
that.
anxious right now, what good it would be? Nothing.
Hmm.
So the moment
Hmm.
you can tell yourself nothing, so you don't need to be anxious, there you go. You're back to be grounded. Welcome back.
Oh, I love that. Welcome back to Earth.
I like to do stuff step by step. So
Yes, I love it. I love it. Whew. Okay, do you have a mantra that you live by?
a mantra that I live by.
Hmm.
Ha, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm loved. I say that probably hundreds of times before I go to bed because I'm the kind of person who tend to feel anxious before I go to bed for some reason, and this is something that even hypnotherapists can't work on it. I feel scared before I go to bed because I feel scared I'm not gonna wake up again for no reason. Probably because I just faced my dad passing away. Probably that too. But yeah, I have that mantra that I would say every day when I wake up, when I'm at work thinking about stuff that I can't figure out. When I before I go to bed, and it's very effective.
Yeah, yeah. I say that I am divinely guided and I'm divinely protected. That is sort of my mantra too.
See, like being loved, being protected, being safe, those are what you need these days. You can go to the nitty gritty of it, like but I don't have enough food. Yeah, but you're not hungry
You have
either, no?
you have food now. You went to bed with some food, right? But
Yeah,
not an empty stomach,
exactly.
and you
So
have a
that's
place to
enough
sleep.
for the day,
Yeah, it's
right?
enough.
You got a place
Take
to
it.
sleep, you got a roof.
Yes, take it. Really, this notion of one day at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. Even
Hmm.
even now, I'm back in corporate world. I'm back to 9 to 6 salary. I still take it one day at a time because I don't want to do the
Yes.
same mistake of losing myself, being too
Yes.
much into work that it's not even mine. That kind of thing.
Mm. Thank you. What keeps you up at night? Is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
Oh, this is actually a good opening. So years ago, when I'm going through all this self-discovery journey, one thing that keeps me up at night is um, what happened if I got fired from work. That's what keeps me up at night. That's the
Mm.
first one. The second one, and this is actually the one that I was scared the most back then, is what if you end up being alone forever? Oh, that
Same.
second
The
one.
two biggest questions
It is
of
very
my life.
scary for so many people. I have like 10 close friends that would tell me the same thing. One thing they're very scared of is ended up being alone in this lifetime. Because when you are alone, it's all about, people judging you. That's for sure. You start to see in media or like people around you holding hand and you feel lonely. And then the feeling of fear of being lonely, it's like the basic fear every human is designed with. So that's what used to keep me up at night. I think I went through a very good exercise with my therapist, not the hypnotherapy one, the previous one, where we work on what's the worst that could happen. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, if I fear of I'm gonna be alone in this lifetime, what could I think be the worst that could happen?
Yeah, like
The
what's
worst
the
thing that
worst?
could happen is no one come to my funeral. That would be sad and lonely, right?
Yeah,
And then my therapist would say, yeah, but you can pay a service for that. Like, be
exactly.
extravagant, pay a service
Yeah.
where they invite models to come to your funeral. And
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, it doesn't feel so bad anymore. If I get fired from work, what's the worst that could happen? You can't pay
Mm-hmm.
your bills, you don't have money, but are you gonna die on the spot? Not really.
No, you're gonna find ways.
Yeah, for sure. You have at least I can come home to my mom, although
Yeah,
she'll be like scolding me every day. But at least I will still have roof over my head. And I
exactly.
think I would have friends to help with that.
Yeah.
So eventually, amongst all of those fears, there was nothing. It was not even a valid fear.
Mm,
Um,
yes.
so for people, and I think this is the current trend, who are thinking like, oh, what's gonna happen to my kids when I pass away tomorrow? Okay, let's go back to the same scenario. What's the worst that could
Worst
happen?
that can happen. Mm-hmm.
Your kid's gonna be taken to the state, or
Mm-hmm.
you can be ready about it and set up a will for them.
Yes.
And then, okay, if let's say they're taken by the state, what's the worst that could happen? Would they die? No. What's the
No.
likelihood of the state gonna take them if you have some assets for them? Next to
Mm-hmm.
zero, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what are you worrying about?
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
what I've done before. Now if you ask me what
I
keeps
love
me up
it.
at night, nothing.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? Exactly. The fear is very legit. I used to think about it. What if I don't end up with somebody? So, what? What is the worst that can happen? To be honest, like you said, nobody's going to a funeral. Yeah, there will be services, and probably if I am smart enough by that time, if I continue by myself, and I can check myself into a, I don't know, old, a resort. I don't know, the wellness center
Yeah,
for people. I'm gonna have a good time with those people there until, I don't know, on my deathbed or something, and then I'm gonna be taken care of. But anyway, it is my body already, my mortal body. My soul is eternal, and that is
yeah. So I think, most people, they have a fear, but they don't really want to investigate that fear. I think people are trying to
why.
like hide that fear away and trying to avoid it at all costs, including to settle it in a very toxic relationship, just to not being alone, rather
Mhm.
than asking yourself, why are you afraid of it?
Ah, ah, thank you. Mic drop.
And that's another part of trust yourself, that you can go through so many things.
Yes. Yes. Be it with or without a partner.
Yes, you gotta trust yourself in every step you take, because you're actually way better than you know.
Thank you. Okay, last question. If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Oh, I've just said you're better than what you know.
Thank you. You're way powerful than what you realize. Thank you so much, Maria. What a no, I was kinda worried that we're not gonna have enough to talk about, but way I was wrong. 1 hour and 20 minutes. And I would like to thank you for doing the work that you do on you. And it's not just why I say that. It's because when you do work on you, you feel better and you just exude that to the people around you, the people that you interact, the people with. To me, like, when we connected back this year, I felt like I could resonate in that. Subconsciously lifted my my I don't know, feel good or consciousness level to say that, oh, I am not, somebody else is going through the journey, and we're all slowly awakened to that. So thank you for facing your fears, and of course thank you for today.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much. And like I said, you're doing work on manifestation and abundance. Once you figure it out, I will call you. Maybe in the next few months time.
For sure. Thank you so
Well,
much for having me, Nicolette. I hope you enjoyed this.
yes, and not just me, my listeners would too. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.